You are watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. 24 ceasefire truce takes effect all over Sudan today. The United Nations warns of the deterioration of the humanitarian situation in Ukraine after the collapse of Kakhovka Dam, and Russia continues bombing Ukrainian sites. And the second Arab Codex Colloquium discusses in Muscat the activation of the Arab initiative of Codex Alimentarius. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. The 24-hour ceasefire agreed by Sudan's rival factions and announced by Saudi Arabia and the United States took effect on early today. The representatives of the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces agreed to a 24-hour country-wide ceasefire beginning today, according to a joint Saudi-U.S. statement published by the Saudi press agency. The parties agreed that during the ceasefire, they would refrain from prohibited movements, attacks, use of aircrafts or drones, aerial bombardment, artillery strikes, reinforcements of positions, and resupply of forces. They also agreed to allow the unimpeded movement and delivery of humanitarian assistance throughout the country. If observed, the 24-hour ceasefire will provide an important opportunity to deliver humanitarian assistance and for the rival factions to build confidence in resuming their peace talks in the Saudi city of Jeddah. A day before the agreement takes effect, conflicts in Khartoum have cooled down slightly, although fighting in other areas remained. The United Nations humanitarian chief says the destruction of the Kakhovka in Ukraine has led to international consequences on a viral scale. Martin Griffiths, the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, told the Associated Press yesterday the consequences are going to be a ravaged breadbasket in the southern part of Ukraine that will lead to shortages of grain and higher prices around the globe. Griffiths also warned that the cooling abilities of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant are also in jeopardy. Concerns over distribution of the ammonia have also risen in recent days after a blast damaged the Tolyatti-Odessa pipeline on Monday. Ammonia is the key ingredient for fertilizers, and Moscow wants Ukraine to open a pipeline from the Russian city of Tolyatti to the Ukrainian part of Odessa that is used before the war to ship ammonia to its global customers. The European Union has decided to set minimum penalties for violating EU sanctions. The European Union's interior ministers made it clear at their meeting in Luxembourg that this plan would reduce cases of evasion of punitive measures imposed on Russia in particular, at a time when the Kremlin's war on Ukraine is raging, pointing out that the level of sanctions and member states may vary, given the national systems that deal with violations of the EU sanctions still differ widely. The Colombian authorities found 4 children who survived the crash of a small plane that was carrying them 40 days ago alive in the jungles of Colombia. President Gustavo Petro announced in a tweet that the lost children were found alive after the crash of the Cessna 206 plane that was carrying them with their mother and a relative. More than 100 soldiers accompanied by sniffer dogs and dozens of indigenous people have been searching for the children between the provinces of Guaviare and Quiquita since the wreckage of their plane was found amid thick vegetation. The latest weather maps and analysis of the National Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center indicate the continuation of the Category 1 tropical cyclone in the center of the Arabian Sea. It lays centered on latitude 16.5 north and longitude 67.4 east. Wind speed around the center is estimated between 65 to 80 knots, 1,050 kilometers away from the coast of the Sultanate of Oman. The Omani meteorology warned to avoid going to the sea and practicing any marine activities due to the sea waves rising to 3 to 6 meters on the coast of the Arabian Sea during the next 3 days. The average waves on the coast of the Sea of Oman is 1.5 to 2.5 meters starting next Monday. The Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Food Safety and Quality Center at the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources, hosted the second Arab Codex Colloquium. More details in the following report.
Food authorities worldwide exert relentless efforts to overcome the persistent global challenges within the food industry to ensure food safety and sustainability. Within this framework, the Sultanate of Oman, represented by the Food Safety and Quality Center at the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Water Resources, hosted the second Arab Codex Colloquium.
We look at this colloquium or symposium as an excellent opportunity to enhance the collaboration between the GSO and the Arab members in the Codex Alimentarius to promote the standards that should serve the food safety and quality in Arab region in general. And this is also a good opportunity to as well also facilitate the communication between all members of the Codex Alimentarius, talking about either the Arab or the non-Arab country member that should facilitate at the end of the day the food safety and quality of the humanity.
Representatives of the Codex Alimentarius Commission, the Codex program across the Arab region, regional standardization organizations, and international organizations convened in Muscat to review the accomplishments of the Arab Codex Initiative and related key themes to shape the future directions of the Arab Codex Initiative.
Codex is very important. It's the international standard-setting body for food safety that is recognized by the World Trade Organization. The goal, to me, of this is for the Arab countries to take their rightful place with the rest of the world within Codex Alimentarius. We've seen over the years that, there's not been that much participation from this region, and to us it's very, very important that every country is represented in this global forum so that the food safety and the culture of this region is represented.
We are here to discuss the way Arab countries are to be contributing in the most effective manner in shaping international food safety and nutrition, as well as food quality standards across the world. It's very important that Arab countries are having their voice well represented in the way international standards are set. We're going to be reviewing our activities under the Arab Codex initiatives. We're going to be aiming for more coordination. We're going to be also looking at the way countries of the GCC, so the Gulf Cooperation Council, how essentially they are shaping their Codex coordination activities, again under the leadership of the Sultanate of Oman.
The main standards reviewed by the International Food Standards Setting Body in the previous period will also be discussed at the colloquium in preparation for the upcoming meeting of the Codex Alimentarius Commission that will be held in November this year in Rome. The outcomes of the meeting are expected to align the efforts to maintain food security and ultimately the protection of consumers in the Arab region. صالح بخلفان الرحبي, Sultanate of Oman Television, Muscat.
The embassy of the Sultanate of Oman in the Tunisian capital organized an introductory meeting for the Sultan Qaboos Award for Culture, Arts and Literature in its 10th edition. The meeting reviewed the areas of award this year, which include media studies, communication, cinematic production, and literature. The award seeks to contribute to the movement of scientific development and intellectual enrichment and to instill values of originality and innovation in the younger generations by providing an encouraging environment. It's worth mentioning that the Sultan Qaboos Award for Culture, Arts, and Literature is held every 2 years. In support of projects and the development of the economic sector in Al Buraimi Governorate, Al Buraimi Governor's Office signed a memorandum of cooperation with the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Al Buraimi Governorate branch, to attract and encourage investment in various sectors. The memorandum aims to facilitate investment operations in the governorate by making applications of an economic nature in addition to supporting small and medium-sized enterprises projects. The memorandum was signed by His Excellency Sayyid Dr. Hamad bin Ahmed Al Busaidi, Governor of Al Buraimi, and on behalf of the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Zahir bin Mohammed Al Ka'bi, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Chambers Branch in the Buraimi Governorate. During the first quarter of this year, the producer price index in the Sultanate of Oman recorded an increase by 1% compared to the same period last year. According to data issued by the National Center for Statistics and Information, prices of oil and gas products led to this rise, recording a growth of 2%. While non-oil products recorded a decrease of 4%, the decrease in the non-oil products prices is a result of a decline in the manufacturing industry's prices by 5.5%. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. 24-hour ceasefire truce takes effect all over Sudan today. The United Nations warns of the deterioration of the humanitarian situation in Ukraine after the collapse of the Kakhovka Dam, and Russia continues bombing Ukrainian sites. And the second Arab Codex Colloquium discusses in Muscat the activation of the Arab initiative of Codex Alimentarius. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios is good night.